Is this better than this? Welcome to the Techno Reviewer. Roll the intro. Welcome back, and this time we have the RG350M well, as it usually goes with these things, let's do a quick unboxing. This was previously opened by myself. Obviously I had to open it for the testing purposes, but no worries, and put it back into the box. It's as it was when it arrived. Now the specifications are exactly the same as the RG350 as the previous model was, with a couple of differences, which is obviously the improvement in the software and the fact that it now has a 640 by 480 IPS display, which it's amazing. The layout of the console is slightly different, as it now has the joysticks that have actually the position of the joysticks has moved, and one of them has actually moved the opposite side. It's no longer like the Nintendo Switch layout. And in this particular case I add the space gray version, although it says black on the box, but no, it's the space gray version. So we open the box, and as always we have the foamy bit which protects the controls and the joystick, and then we have our console, which we'll put to the side a second, and then underneath the tray we have our usual USB Type-C cable, which we know from the last one absolutely works fine. It's just a charging cable. And then we have our quick start guide, and for some reason we also have a user manual, which I'm assuming it's the same thing, but let's have a look at it quickly. So we open the manual, and the user manual is exactly like last time. It tells you the various functions of the device, and it gives you a sort of an idea on how to connect to the computer and how to load the ROMs. The placement of the TF card has now changed, so there's two TF cards at the bottom as opposed to just one. The previous one had an internal one, and on the back it has the same. It's in Japanese. So we close this, and let's have a look at the other quick start guide, which is, well, it looks to be fully in Japanese. Nope, it's also in English, but it looks like to be the same exact thing, just slightly different layout. No worries, this shows you how to load the ROMs, no problem. So we don't need this, we know what is what. The idea is to see whether the RG350M is worth a replacement of the RG350. Well, just to start, look at that. Just as a comparison, I am going to put the RG350 next to it. It's definitely nicely built. It has these recessed joysticks, which you can tell it's amazing. The screen is now Gorilla Glass. You now have a very nice feel to the buttons. Even the clicky buttons feel amazing, as opposed to this one, which rattled when you moved it and has a plasticky feel to it. Yeah, this was actually really good to play with, but now this is amazing. Well, let's power it on, and you now have the power button onto the side as opposed to the bottom. And in the meantime, as that powers up, I will show you that it has the internal TF card that is over here. There was a do not remove warranty seal, but I had to open it to make sure that, well, to see what was inside. You know, I just wanted to know. So there was a seal here. Anyway, this is the internal TF card, which is now external. Don't know why they did that, but the idea is that you can replace this with a much larger one. Now this can go all the way to 128 gig. To the standard one is in fact the 16 gig, which allows you, gives you 13.6 gig of storage. Then you have the TF card, the external one, or SD card, whichever way you want to call it. And this is the same SD card that was present onto this one, which is the one that you would load the games in. And you see it says EXT, which is external. You still have your stereo speakers, The placement, as I said, the placement of the power button is now on the side, which is much nicer. The volume is no longer at the bottom, but it's onto the side, and you only have that reset button underneath, just in case you can't get out of games. At the top, we still have the same ports, and I think the layout in the exact same place. So we have our USB Type-C connector 1, a USB Type-C connector 2, and then we have our headphones out, which that one says AV, as this one does not. However, although this one says HDMI there, in the previous software it did not work. In this one it now does. And as a menu, it does show onto the menu here that HDMI is available and it's currently on. So that's the same sort of console. So I am just going to run one of the games as an emulator. And actually, before I do that, I did load another emulator onto this to see whether it would work, and it is the N64 emulator. I will run this, and I will warn you, it's not pleasant. I've only loaded 2 games, so let's go for Mario Kart, which is everyone's favorite. Turn the volume up. As you can tell from the choppy sound, it's not going to run well. Let's go quickly through. Yeah, one game, 50cc, okay. That's fine, Mario as always. Yeah, Mushroom Cup. It's easy enough. It certainly does not make you want to play. Yeah, you can't even... Yeah. I'm not going to say it's unplayable as such, because you can sort of play it, but it's not playable. I mean, the sound is quite annoying. Yeah, I'm mixing these boxes. The sound is quite annoying. There is certain sections of the game which run pretty well, but in average, it does not. Yeah. Now, the combination to get out of the games is power and select. That comes out of the game. I apologize if that sound was too loud and perhaps it went over my voice. I will try and fix that in post-editing. However, you can then remove come out of the emulators by just clicking the start button, and then you have all your various emulators. And yes, we also have our PlayStation emulator. Now let's go for yeah, it's back on Gran Turismo. The last one was Gran Turismo as well. Well, let's go for something else. Let's go for, yeah, let's have Tomb Raider 2. Actually, no, let's go for Crash Bandicoot 2. But what to say, this is actually quite amazing. You also have these nice rubber grips at the back, and I think this is mainly, the idea of these grips at the back is basically when you place it onto the desk or onto the table so it doesn't scratch the console or the table or whichever. But yeah, let's go for start. And new game. There you go, and there's our game. Now what to say, look at that resolution. I mean the resolution of the display I'm talking about. I'm going to load the same game onto this one, so that you can see the difference. In the meantime, I'm just gonna go and load the game. As always, these intros take forever. So I am going to, in the meantime, load it onto that second one. Where is it? It's all the way here. Crash Bandicoot 2, go. That's loading. In the meantime, that's going to be loading. So we go, yeah. Let's go for Snow Go. No? Ah, yeah. That one. Why can I not remember how to do this? Ah, here it is. I think the joystick, yeah, the joystick works as well. It's playable and it's actually really nice. Works very well. In the meantime, let's try and load this because the one underneath is also going. Let's put that there. Come on, load, quick. Yeah, this is extremely light. There you go. Oh yeah, the joystick on this one doesn't work. You have to use these. I'm not sure why, because to be honest, I thought the hardware was the same. They're only slightly moved, but something is different. Now the playing of the game is the same, but let's go for the same in the same place as that was. So I was here. Side by side. Obviously the camera does not give it justice, but if you look carefully at that screen, just look at the way Crash Bandicoot is, well, shivering. Can you see it's all pixelated? Whereas here, it's still shivering, but you can't really tell the pixels because the quality is much higher, the resolution is much higher. So it kind of gives you more that higher definition. Well, it is an higher definition. Even looking at the grass, you can see how it's all square and pixelated. And looking at the grass over here, you can't really see the pixels as much. You can still see the pixels, of course, but not as much. So, the answer, the question, let's exit this in the meantime. Let's go for this one as well. Yeah, I didn't know this, but yeah, if you press on this one as well, start and select, you come out of the ROM. So it's the same as this one, you press start and select and it does come out. In fact, there are a couple of functions. For example, if you press power and the volume, the backlight changes. So then you just increase the backlight. Now the idea is that you have to press the power button and hold down, and then you press slightly up, you know, in sections. So it does increase the brightness slowly. Right, so is it worth replacing your RG350 for the RG350M? In my opinion, well, I have it and I'm going to say yes. Why am I saying yes? I'm saying yes because it is a superior build quality. If you carried this around, it feels like it's an actual device. It feels like you want to play on this because it's got some weight. The controls are quite nice and work. The actual device itself has the buttons in the correct place, and it does feel a superior device. It's interesting how the two are exactly the same specifications. Specifications have not changed in respect of the power of it. It's just the software that has changed, and you can actually run this firmware onto that, and you can upgrade this, and there's a lot of things you can do, but the quality of it is what sets them apart. Obviously the quality of the display is the main one, but the quality of the build quality itself is a giver here, because if you hold this and you give this to someone, it feels plasticky, it feels cheap, and it feels like a toy. You give someone this one and it feels premium, it feels just more robust, it feels like it's supposed to be for for a man, it's a manly console. Yes, you can buy for kids, of course. It's a retro console, so kids tend to not want to play older games, but it does feel amazing. You have all of your ports, you have all of your buttons, you have access to the internal memory card, you have access to the external memory card. You have something that actually feels amazing, and the build quality, the weight of it, just having it in your hand is what makes you want to say, yes, I'm gonna buy this one. It's unfortunate that you can't really go to a shop and test it out for yourself before you go and buy one, but when you hold this in your hand, it feels like it's supposed to be made like this. This one unfortunately feels, well, it's rattly, it's plastic. So is this better than that? Build quality, yes. Specs, all the same, but for me, it's a winner. This is the one I'm gonna keep. This is the one I will be playing on. And yeah, the next video will be more into what can replace this. So check it out. Next week we'll have another device here. Will it be able to beat this? Is it going to be the console of 2020? More than likely. Stay tuned, check it out. As always, please remember to subscribe, like this video, comment, and say anything you want. Well, you know, the more the merrier. For this has been the Techno Reviewer, and I'm signing out.